Okay, so if you're a life coach right now, chances are you've asked yourself at least once whether AI is going to replace you. And honestly, I mean, that's not such a crazy thought to have. Is AI really coming for coaches? That is the topic we are discussing today with no other than Rich Bernstein, the CEO of Mars Venus Coaching. Rich has been in the coaching space for over 20 years. He joined Mars Venus Coaching to help Dr. John Gray, the best-selling author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, build a global coaching school. Before that, Rich was a successful business owner in his own right. He was coaching executives, entrepreneurs, and he also had a major key role in building another major coach certification program in the US. So thank you very much, Rich, for joining us today. Rich, as I said, you've been in the industry for 20 years. You've seen it all. You started when nobody knew about coaching, and now we are looking at a chance of coaching being replaced by algorithms. How do you see that?
Well, let me tell you why AI will not replace life and relationship coaching. First of all, and this is so important, emotional connection cannot be automated. We don't want to automate it. We want to have that emotion, that empathy with the person we're talking to. The AI will never feel you. It might give you answers, it can give you information, but it's not going to feel how you feel. And that's what it takes for real transformation, that somebody is sharing their experiences. Accountability as well, which is a big part of coaching, is it's human. It's not digital. You can't hold somebody accountable digitally. They can just turn the machine off if they don't feel like doing it. But if they know the coach is going to call them tomorrow or the next day, they get things done. People follow through when another human is holding them accountable, not when a machine is holding them accountable. And another really big point is love and conflict and communication. These are layered with emotion. They're not just, give me an answer what I should do, because there's such a nuance, and relationships are too nuanced for algorithms. They just won't work when every person and every relationship is different on some level. There's a lot of nuance to that.
Mm-hmm. So the question is not, will AI replace coaching to you, but how coaches can use AI?
Oh, that's a really good point. We can, and I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I literally go in and find answers or more explanation of how I can help that client. But it's so true that people don't just want answers. They want guidance. They want understanding. They want love. They want a connection with their coach. And to me, that's what's really important. Breakthroughs require human reflection. It's not going to get you to reflect the way another human will. Real change comes when somebody challenges your blind spots. They really can find what's underneath that, not just a pat answer of what I should do. Trust is another big one. Trust is built on human experience. Somebody who's lived that. They've struggled with it. They know what you're going through, and they can share that experience. That's really, the connection that you have with your client and the client's connection to you as a coach. They're not really going to connect with AI. Yes, it can help you. It can help give you answers. It gives you information, but there's so much underneath that. They want somebody like me who's been through it. I've been married 35 years, the ups and the downs and the inside out and everything that goes on. So it will support you in coaching, but it won't replace it.
And you said something in other podcasts, which I think is quite interesting here. And we talked briefly about it. It's the transmission of information, right, which you can get from AI. But then coaching is more than just giving information. It's what is coaching really? Maybe people don't quite understand what coaching actually is. Maybe they think it's like consulting. You tell people what to do, and that's why you need AI, and that's why it's
That's right. If we were just telling people what to do, then AI could replace, but we don't. We're really getting underneath that. The first thing in coaching, when you say, what is it? First thing is we got to bring the client clarity, because most people, they know what they don't want. They know what they don't like, but they don't really focus on how can I get a crystal clear vision of what it is I want in my relationship, in my life, in my work, in anything that I do? So that's first and foremost, this clarity. And then once you have clarity on where you are and where you want to go, then it's all about crafting a plan of what can we do every single week that I can hold you accountable to doing, not an AI machine. If you don't feel like doing it, you just turn off the machine. And then finally, once we have that plan together, it's all accountability. It's every week, did you do what you said? And if you didn't do it, what happened? What got in your way? What stopped you? Things like that. So people don't want better answers. They want more connection. They want to connect with somebody and bond with somebody and somebody that understands them. It doesn't mean anything if a machine understands you. It means something if another human understands you. Yeah. That's why I love coaching. I love hearing my clients' stories and read between the lines. The algorithm won't read between the lines. Trust me, it's just going to read the line and give you information. That's really good, but that's not coaching.
Yeah. And I guess in this new era of loneliness, sort of global loneliness pandemic, right? Having a coach, having a human being, not just to be accountable to, but to also to connect with, might become quite important, no?
It is it's important now. And even as AI develops, it's not going to be, that is not the connection they're looking for. That's not the empathy they're looking for. That's not the understanding. You're right. A lot of people are lonely out there and they want to connect with another human. And to me, you can't get any better than that. That's why I think everybody should have a coach. We all need that understanding from another person.
Mm-hmm. And so you say everybody should have a coach. You have a coach? Who's your coach?
A guy named Vic in Australia.
In Australia.
More than 12 years. That's why I can do the accent. But I do it because he said to do it. I don't want to get on a phone with him, which I do once a week, and say, no, I didn't do that. No, I didn't feel like doing this. He always sees, like I said earlier, the blind spot. If I'm working on something over here, yeah, but what about your relationship with your daughter, your son, your wife? What about your health? Have you worked on your health a little bit this week? What are you eating? How are you feeling? Are you sleeping? These are all the kind of things, a 360-degree perspective of what we're doing in our life. I certainly have a love-hate relationship with him because sometimes I don't want to do it, but I'm not going to get on that call and say I didn't do it. If I were talking to an AI, I would just turn it off for a day and not make that call. AI is not going to turn itself back on and then say, why didn't you do it?
Not yet. But but what is it? What and why is it? I mean, I would probably agree with you that being accountable to a person has more gravitas than to your app. But what is it? Like, in your experience, what makes it so?
Yeah, it's a great. I can only answer it in two words: human connection, human understanding. I want another person to understand me. Then I feel okay with who I am. If a machine says you're doing a good job, doesn't have that much value to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't get that gratification that I'm on the right path. Vic is not just a coach to me. He's a mentor. He's a teacher. You know what I mean? He's a holistic kind of perspective on my life. And like I said, some days I love him and some days I don't, but I'm held accountable by him. Yeah. He always has a plan that we put together, each week, what we're going to do for the following week. So I like his perspective. Not so sure I would like an AI's perspective.
Okay. So for a coach, for a life coach, or any coach really, who is concerned about AI taking their space, what will you tell them?
I would yes, great question. I would actually tell them and teach them to talk to their clients about it. That what value are you getting from the sessions with me is that human connection, that human empathy, that understanding. I want someone to understand me. So that's the bottom line.
Okay. And how does Master Venus coaching deal with or deal with that connection, that question of connecting? Like gender intelligence, how does that improve connection, if it does?
It does, because with gender intelligence comes emotional intelligence. They go hand in hand. One feeds to the other and back. When you're emotionally intelligent, you're feeling their emotion, you can apply the gender intelligence to that. So one literally feeds into the other. And that's what we teach at Mars Venus, not just gender intelligence, but emotional intelligence. How do I, understand my client, but I don't have to crawl down in where they are. I can feel what they're feeling without having, that heaviness on me, not carrying it with me, and really understand my client. Because at the end of the day, that's what they want, is to be understood, to be heard, to be seen. AI it hears you, but it doesn't see you. It doesn't feel you. And to me, that's where real transformation comes from. When you empathize with me, you feel what I'm saying, especially a lot of the women, because they lead with that emotion.
Okay.
AI doesn't care about that. It's just going to give them information.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. And how does Mars Venus coaching help their coaches succeed in this kind of market today, where AI, there's AI, there are many other tools?
Well, first and foremost, you have to be a good empathetic listener. So we have tools that we teach on how to be an empathetic listener, how to read between the lines, how to read the body language. AI is not looking at your body, and 78% of our communication is nonverbal. You know what I mean? It's your body language, it's your tone of voice, things like that. And I do believe that is critical to teach coaches how to be empathetic, how to listen, how to go between the lines and really understand what they mean by what they're saying, not just what they're saying. That's why they don't just want information back. Just give me an answer. Should I leave my wife? Should I leave my husband? What should I do? No, I want to read between the lines. Where is that really coming from? And we teach that at Mars Venus, because it is a connection business, and we want our coaches to connect with their clients. They can use AI for themselves. They can use it to give them more information that I can help my client make better decisions. But you got to do that all through empathetic connection with that client. And it'll never replace that.
What would you recommend coaches do to, looking forward? How would you tell them, how would you advise them to use AI?
I would tell them you can use ChatGPT or any one of those AIs to get information only, not the feeling behind the information. We're going to teach you how to deliver that information, how to connect with the client and read between the lines. But I use it all the time to give me answers, but to give me answers as the coach, as the professional, because people really don't want a better answer. What they really want is the human connection. They want to connect with somebody. AI can give me answers. I like those answers. I can take them and share them with my client, but I want to do that with a human connection, as opposed to just here. I could just say, read this and do it yourself.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, thank you very much, Rich, for your perspective on that topic. For you at home, if you enjoyed this conversation, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you want to find out more about Mars Venus coaching, check out the show notes in the description. You'll find a link there to the website. There's a wonderful quiz there as well that will help you discover your coaching superpowers. And I look forward to seeing you next time for our next conversation with Rich Bernstein. Thank you, Rich. Have a good night.
Let me just say one more thing.
Go on.
Coaches out there, don't be afraid of AI. It won't replace you.